Welcome back to Arise, the show where we help you become better off the field so you can be better on the field. We've got a few messages in today, some very interesting stuff that we're going to talk about. And so we'd appreciate it if you could subscribe, hit the like button. That helps us out tremendously. And we're going to jump into the first message.
Marcus from Branson, Missouri says, I can't afford my D1 scholarship. I got the calls, my parents were crying, and my school even threw me a party. But I can't afford it. I got to campus, and the full ride didn't include summer housing, or the technology fee, or the mandatory meal plan. I'm looking at the bill for $7,500 that my scholarship doesn't touch at all. My parents are already maxed out helping my siblings. I feel like a fraud. I'm D1, but I'm failing out because I'm worried about rent instead of my football opportunities.
That is a topic that literally almost no one ever talks about. A lot of athletes love to treat a D1 scholarship like it's a lottery ticket, like you literally have to pay for nothing. And there are cases where I think that's pretty close to the truth, but there's a lot of cases like what you're experiencing where that's not the truth. The NCAA loves that you think like the D1 scholarship is like a blank check, but that's usually not the case at all. It's usually a lot more of like a coupon type deal where they cover a lot of the major expenses, but you're still responsible for the stuff they deem extra. Sometimes that can be like, I've never heard of the food coverages like he said, but sometimes it can be that. It can be books, like boarding, stuff like minimal stuff like that. And that just, all those little expenses can add up, especially like if you're having to move and stuff. There's just a lot of associated fees that no one ever really talks about. I think one of the biggest things you're going to struggle with is probably just that feeling of like inadequacy, like I can't afford it, or if you can make it happen, that you got here on a whim. And I want you to just put all those insecurities to the side, because at the end of the day, you did get a D1 offer. Like that's a huge deal. That's something a lot of people like train their whole lives for. And so the fact that you got that is super impressive. And I don't want you to discredit that at all. There's a few things you can do, just thinking off the top of my head. A lot of schools have like a compliance office. And sometimes you can go to those and try to get like a hardship cost adjustment or something like that. Sometimes you can talk to like the offices of the team who gave you the D1 scholarship and like explain them your situation. And I don't know like what the success rate of those things actually working would be, but thinking off the top of my head, like I would think there would be a few adjustments that you could make, or that they could make, that would improve your chances of being able to make that happen. I would also suggest like trying to find I'm going to call it a sponsor. Like if you have like good family friends, or like a teacher who believed in you, or like a coach or something. Sometimes you would be surprised at the people who are willing to invest into you to help you get there. And so I don't know what that would actually look like for you. It all depends on dynamics and, there's a million different variables. But I wouldn't give up on the dream quite yet. I would see what you can do. I don't know how long you have to like give them a for sure answer or anything, but I wouldn't just get so demotivated by the fact that I can't afford it right now. I would really lean in on like, what are the things I can do? Can I get extra jobs? What can I do to be able to make it into the D1 scholarship?
Some colleges even have a work program that you can go through. I know you'll be busy with practices and things like that, but if you make time to go through that work program, that could definitely help you pay for some of those costs.
Yeah, I feel like there's so many programs now that really can assist you in not being able to afford it. And so I would talk to mentors, I would talk to a million different people and say, hey, like, this is a dream, and I feel like I'm falling down at the easier part of this, which is the financial side. I mean, you went through all the hard work to make it happen. You've got the skill level. You've been able to get the D1 scholarship, but now you're stuck here at the financial side, which I hate for you. I have no idea. I have no doubt that that's like weighing on you so heavy. But yeah, definitely look at like the programs and everything. But I am going to switch a little bit to the tough love part. And I really ask you to like self-reflect is this scholarship like a career builder for you? Or is it something that you're going to scrape by to get into, and it just ends up trapping you in debt? And I don't think by listening to to how you called in and everything that it's going to be the latter. But I would really suggest that you spend some time really reflecting on that, and just think about, how far do I want to go with football? I know, assuming you got a D1 offer, I know you're pretty invested, but I know some D1 players are just trying to get through college and are just trying they don't really have any aspirations of going further than like college. They don't want to go to the NFL or anything like that. And so, depending on the offer, obviously, this is a great opportunity for you to go to probably a very reputable school with not like you don't have to pay a ton of money. But if it's to the point, like you said, where you are struggling with the minor expenses and everything, it may be more valuable for you to look into more of a community college or anything. And I know like that's worst case scenario. But I just want you to caution those things. I think those are things you're probably thinking about. And I have no doubt that you're considering all of those factors. But look into the programs. I think there's a lot of opportunity for you to find other ways to get that money and to get help. Look at the work programs. And man, I'm sorry you're in that situation. I have no doubt that that's rough, especially after all the hard work you've done. But I think you can look at the programs. I think you can work, figure something out, talk to friends, family, anything, find a sponsor. And I'm fairly confident that you will be able to make it through.
Jordan from Louisville, Kentucky says, I've played football since I was 5. My dad played, my older brother played, and my whole town expects me to be the next one. But honestly, I hate it. I hate the smell of the locker room, I hate the film sessions, and I'm tired of being in pain. But I'm scared to quit when there is such a big expectation on me to play. My friends are all on the team. My dad's Sunday afternoons revolve around my games. If I hang up the cleats, I feel like I'm not just quitting a sport. I'm leaving my family. Am I just soft, or is it okay to want out?
That's a huge question with a lot of elements. If that's true that the only reason you're playing is for like your father's expectation, then I have no doubt that you've probably already not been contributing to your team in the way you should be. And that's a rough situation to be in. And so I would say, like, in a way, you're kind of already playing for the wrong team. That's a rough one. I think the biggest thing I could tell you is, like, don't feel trapped into football. Like, just because you've played football for, let's say 4 or 5 years, you've played for 5 years or 4 years, whatever, that doesn't mean you owe football the next 3 or 4 years, right? I like to think of like if you were to go pay for a movie ticket, right, and you get to the movie, you sit down, and it's just like 2 hours of static. Well, you wouldn't just stay at the movie theater. I'd hope you wouldn't just stay at the movie theater because you paid for the ticket, right? Like, there does come a point where you don't have an obligation to continue into something, even though you've been doing it. And so I'd definitely like challenge your mindset on that basis is like, is it because of my father's expectations? Do I want to keep going? Is it literally just because I have been investing in football that I'm like forcing myself to continue investing? And those are all questions that I think can bring a ton of clarity for you.
If you're not passionate about it, you're already not going to play your best, and you're just going to bring the team down. So if it's something you really don't want to do, I feel like your family should understand that and respect that decision.
Yeah, absolutely. If your dad's love for you, which I don't think it is, but if your dad's love and appreciation for you is tied to your participation on the field, then that's a problem with him and not a problem with you. Like, it's a terrible situation and one that does affect you, but it's not your problem, right? And so I don't feel like your obligation to stay on the field should be simply because I feel like my father will be disappointed in me or won't like me or whatever, won't respect me. That very much could be the case. I've seen that happen before, and that really stinks. But that's not really anything you can do. The only thing you can control is yourself. And I would, though, a lot of parents just want to be involved with their children, and so like especially in football and a lot of other sports, you see this where the sport becomes the point of connection where the father can hang out with their son or, vice versa, whatever that may be. And so a lot of times it's a lot less about the specific sport and a lot more about just like, I want to be involved and participate and be a part of my son or daughter's life. And that's a lot of where you see people get mixed up because they think it's all tied to the sport. And once again, there's definitely situations where like like you're talking about, dad played, grandpa played, like everybody thinks you're just going to continue on. And if you want to, that would be great. But if you don't want to, you don't really have an obligation to. I do think out of respect, it's great that you try your best and you try your best to make it happen and to enjoy it. But if that's something like you're just not enjoying, it's unfair to make you stay. And even if you do stay, like you're just going to grow to hate it and resent it, and you're not going to want to participate and put in full effort.
I know that it can feel like more than just a game, but it really is in the grand scheme just a game. If you're not going into that as a career, it's just a time in your life that you're supposed to be having fun, but you're not having fun. And this is not what you're going to be doing for the rest of your life. It doesn't really affect the rest of your life. It's just a game. So if that's not what you want to do as your career, I really wouldn't worry too much about it.
Yeah. I would sit down and talk with your dad and your coach and ask, like, is there any way that I can take a 2-week break or take some sort of break? I don't know where you're at in your season, but like, can I take a little bit of a break, step away from the practices of the training, the conditioning, and everything, and really just see what happens in that 2 weeks? Some players get like re-energized and re-inspired, and they're like, man, I want back on the field so bad. And then other players, like those 2 weeks, that little break is where they're like, man, I really just don't want to go back at all. And I've seen that happen in between high school and college and all those different things. And so definitely taking that break would be beneficial, but don't like just up and quit on a Tuesday when you're tired and frustrated and like, I don't want to do this anymore. I would do this, like put a lot of thought into this, especially because of the family dynamics over a few weeks, when you're well rested, when you're thinking, you're not annoyed, you're not tired, all those things, and really make your decision there, because that allows you to have a clear mind. It allows you to just really think about these things. And when you think about them with that much weight, that can really help you make an educated decision, one that's not fueled by immediate emotions, but that's filled by long-term information. And so that would be what I would do. And then sit down with your dad and have an honest conversation. If you don't want to do this, sat down and just be like, Dad, I understand there's been a family dynamic and like you guys really want me to play. And honestly, like I wish I enjoyed playing and I wish that's something I could continue to do. But unfortunately, like I just am not enjoying the sport. I don't know what to do about that. I've tried to fall back in love with it, but I'm just not enjoying it. I don't think it's for me. And without knowing your father, I think a lot of fathers, that may be rough for them to hear. But I do think over the long term, they'll grow to understand, especially because even if you were to go all the way to the NFL, football is not a forever thing. I mean, even Tom Brady retired. So like, players who get out of the sport and their fathers are, like they still have a relationship with their father. Like your relationship with your family gets built on different things, right? So this has just been the foundational pillar of probably your relationship with your family for a long time. But I have no doubt that regardless of how hard it is to get off of that foundational pillar, like you will find another way to connect and make your father proud ultimately. And so, man, I think you've got this. I think it's a rough situation, and I definitely can feel the weight just by your question. But I think a lot of honest conversations with yourself, a lot of honest conversations with your father, and I have no doubt that you'll get through this, whether you stay on the field or get off of it. That last message was rough, and a lot of times you don't consider like all the dynamics that go into sports that are so off the field, and that's kind of what we hope to help people navigate, because I love football to death. I really do, but I also see a lot of people see this, but there is so many outside dynamics that go into what happens on the field. And sometimes those are, self-reflection. Sometimes those are other relationships bothering you. But nevertheless, we're going to jump into the next message, and let's see what we got.
My girlfriend of 3 years just got accepted to cheer for our biggest rival. This weekend is the rivalry game. And she's not just attending, she's going to be in the opposing team section wearing their colors, screaming against us. When I look into the stands, I'm going to see the person I love rooting for my failure. My teammates are already roasting me, calling me a traitor by association. How do I not take this personally on the field? Is it possible to have a house divided when one of us is actually the one hitting people on the grass?
I think, I don't know, this is going to be a lot of just like working on your own mentality. This is rough. But so I'm going to say some things and try to help you. You're really going to have to sit and metabolize and sit on and try to comprehend and work on yourself with. A lot of it's going to be around, though, just like I would play and just forget what she's wearing. Play like she's watching. Like I'm sure you've done that in the past where she's come to your games and you're playing like she's watching, but forget what she's wearing. Don't like think about that part of it too much. It's super important to not let your relationship elements come with you onto the field. And sometimes that's difficult. You see this in like people who are in rough positions emotionally that get on the field and play and they let their anger comes out on the field, stuff like that. All those things happen, but I wouldn't blur the lines with like just constantly harboring on thinking about that. When you're on the field, do your best to put your head down and focus on I'm just playing like I always play. I'm playing hard. I'm playing my heart out. I'm giving 110%. I don't care who's on the stands or who's in the stands. I don't care if there's an audience, no audience. Like I'm here to play and I'm here to do my best. And the more you can adopt that mentality, the better you're going to be able to play. And that's just a universal statement. I think, it's not always the easiest thing to do, right? Like obviously the nerves in the Super Bowl are a lot worse than like a scrimmage game at practice or something like that. And so, but really trying to set and make that your mentality of just like, no matter what, no matter who's watching, no matter who's not watching, no matter, what they're doing, I'm going to give my 110% no matter what.
You also may have to change your perspective on that a little bit. She's not cheering necessarily against you. She's not rooting for your failure. She's cheering because she likes to cheer. Just because she goes to a different school doesn't mean she's against you. She just loves to cheer, and that's where she happens to be able to cheer. And so she's just doing what she loves, just like you are. You're doing what you love. So you just need to support each other in that.
Yeah, that's a huge point. Like, she could easily flip this whole question around on you. Like, she's cheering for a team and you're playing against the team she's cheering for. And so, like, it's a lot of this dynamic where, like, you're just getting in your head about it. And, like, it would be the same thing, like, if you worked at Target and she worked at Walmart. Like, just you're both there to just do your job, and it doesn't really affect, like, it's not like you're betraying each other. You're just there to do your job. You're there to do what you enjoy and what you love. And so it just comes down to this unfortunate situation where you feel really like attacked by this personally, and that's understandable. But I would just remember, like, this is not a personal attack, and you can't take it personally. Like, you're both just doing what you love, and that's what's really important. Jumping into what you said about the locker room, I have no doubt that you're experiencing that in the locker room. I literally, like, I know the environment, bro. I get it. And
That's just guys.
that is just guys, yes, 100%. But if that's something that's bothering you, one thing I found that worked a lot for myself, and one thing that just works in general, is people love to pick you to get a response out of you. Like, that's what they love, just jumping on it. If it gets a response, they're going to keep doing it. The more that you just are quiet and don't say anything, which obviously, like, that's not advice for your personal life. I'm talking about the locker room. They're just going to keep picking and keep playing and everything. And so just literally not giving them a reaction is fine. Or just not caring in general. And if you can do those things, then, like, they're going to eventually stop, because they do it to get a reaction out of you. They know it gets under your skin, stuff like that. But if you can literally walk around like you don't even hear them, that's the best way to handle it. Now, is that actually going to work for you? I don't know, but that's like the best case scenario for you, is to just stop. And if it's absolutely beating you up to the point where you just can't handle it, then I don't know, maybe talk to a coach and stuff like that. But I think you're probably a pretty strong guy, and so just let it roll off your shoulders. Don't try to retaliate, talk back. Don't try to like prove that that's not the case. Like nothing you can say is going to change their mind because they're just going to keep picking on you, and that's just the unfortunate reality. But I will say the most dangerous part of this situation is going to come after the game is over, and or whether you guys are like car ride home, dinner after, whatever that comes. I would be careful because of the way you phrase this question, not to be like talking about the game or like rubbing it in like, oh, my team won, my team like. Don't do any of that. Let's establish some boundaries before the game where we're like, hey, no matter what happens, we're just both doing what we love. That's what matters. I'm not going to jump into let's not make jabs back and forth about who won, what happened, stuff like that. Just that's giving you a lot of real estate for stuff to like come up and create problems between you and your girlfriend. And so, dude, I would really just focus on doing what you love. Don't think about it. It's not something that's super deep. That you definitely can make it deep if you're not careful. But by being intentional, by creating boundaries to protect you and your girlfriend, and just having open conversations about how you're feeling to one another, I think you can get through this super easy. It just feels really weird in the moment, especially if you've never experienced it. But I have nothing but high hopes that you will be able to get through it. And I just play like you always would. Play like no one's watching, or like you just are there to play your best. And so just do your best, and I think that you've got it. That's going to wrap it up for this episode. We enjoy sitting and talking with you. There's going to be a link in the description, as always, if you want to submit a story of something you're struggling with. We're not at all professionals or like mental health professionals or anything, but if we can sit with you and just help you talk through some things and just put some logic behind them, we would love to do that. And so there's a link in the description. If you want to talk to us, make sure you guys like and subscribe. That helps us a ton. We're trying to grow, and we will talk to you guys in the next one.